It was the kind of house that looked like it remembered things. Not just the memories of those who once lived in it, but secrets buried deeper than walls and wood could hold. Maya was a history researcher, recently granted a 3-month sabbatical to decompress after a stressful academic year. Her friend, Anuj, had suggested a riverside retreat in a forgotten West Bengal village called Darpanwadi. It wasn't on most maps anymore. The house was old, colonial style. Ivy had swallowed most of its brick walls. But what struck Maya most was the lantern hanging on the porch, swaying in the wind, though there was no breeze. Its flame flickered red, not orange, red. Inside, the house was mostly untouched. Dusty furniture, aging portraits, and a faint scent of wet mud. As she explored, she found a photograph on the fireplace mantel, a woman in a sari holding the same lantern, but her eyes were completely white. That night, the air was heavy. The river behind the house flowed with a soft gurgle, and insects chirped their nocturnal symphony. Maya sat on the porch with her tea, staring at the flickering lantern. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the flame went out. Not just dimmed, vanished. She stepped out, confused, and relit it. But as soon as she turned around, she heard a whisper. "Shh, you should not have done that." Maya froze. It wasn't a voice that came through ears. It felt like the voice arrived in her head. She turned back. The lantern was gone. The next morning, Maya searched around the house. The lantern was hanging again, lit, flickering as if it had never gone out. Confused but dismissing it as stress, she visited the local market to find out more about the house. An old bookseller froze when she mentioned the Riverside house. He said quietly, "That's the Dutt house, left untouched since 1967. Maya asked why. He leaned in. Because anyone who lights that lantern starts hearing her. Back at the house, Maya began hearing whispers, faint at first, names, warnings, laughter. That night, the river's surface rippled violently, though the air was still, and from her bedroom window, she saw a woman walking on the river, barefoot, holding the lantern. In the attic, Maya found a locked trunk. It contained an old journal, wrapped in oilcloth, belonging to Devika Dutt, the woman in the photo. The journal detailed Devika's descent into madness, or perhaps possession. She wrote of a curse tied to the lantern, a pact made by her husband with a river spirit to bring wealth. In return, the spirit demanded an offering, a soul every 20 years. Devika wrote, "He gave me to the river, and now I flicker between worlds." The last page read, "If you see me holding the lantern, don't follow, don't speak, don't look into my eyes." At 2:17 a.m., Maya awoke to the sound of soft knocking. She didn't remember closing her bedroom door. The knocking continued, slow, deliberate. She opened the door. There stood Devika, wet, pale, and smiling. The lantern in her hand pulsed like a heartbeat. Maya tried to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. Devika turned and walked down the hall toward the river. Maya, entranced, followed. At the riverbank, the water rose unnaturally, forming a spiral of mist. Devika turned and spoke in a voice layered with echoes. "You lit the lantern. The pact renews." Maya resisted, but her body wouldn't move. Devika held out the lantern, and Maya saw her own reflection in the glass. But it wasn't her face. It was a screaming version of herself. Just as the river reached for her, a hand yanked her back. It was Anuj, who had arrived unexpectedly for a surprise visit. The mist vanished, the lantern dropped into the water and extinguished. Maya never returned to Dartbunbody, but sometimes, when she walks along rivers or stares into flickering flames, she hears a whisper, "I remember you." And every year, on the same date at 2:17 a.m., the porch lantern at the now abandoned house lights up by itself, waiting for the next curious soul.